I am your host, MISHUMA Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace. And welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. This is the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And I'm your host, MISHUMA Saba, M. Saba. And this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. How y'all doing today, this evening? How are y'all doing this evening? This is our Monday night cultural studies night, and because cultural studies is so broad, man, we do this every Monday, and we give it to you bit by bit, piece by piece. But we love to give it to you. We love to honor and respect and show admiration to our people. You know what I'm saying? To our people, our lawyers, our doctors, our scholars, our scientists, our ancestors. So that's what Monday night cultural studies is all about. It's about giving love back to our community, and definitely just embracing all of the Black excellence that exists within it. So yeah, I'm your host, MISHUMA Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Tonight we got a good show in store. We're gonna talk about the price of tennis shoes today. And are we getting anything out of it as a community? And who are these athletes today? These athletes are our people. And, you know, they sell the most in the shoe product and shoe merchandise. So we're going to definitely talk about that a little bit deeper here tonight on Coffee Talk Podcast. But if this is your first time tuning into the show, we appear 3 days a week. Mondays being our cultural studies night, Wednesdays being our sports night, and Friday being our let your hair down night, our grown folks night, grown folks humor, guests. So be it. That's what we do on Friday and Saturday nights. But if this is your first time tuning into the show, we never start a show without giving its flavor of the day as well as its wise words. So let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? Today's flavor here at Coffee Talk Podcast. Today's flavor is banana grape smoothie. That's right, a banana grape smoothie blended on ice or with almond milk. Why? Because today it's a beautiful day out, but it's chilly. Today, the fall is telling us that it's not that far behind. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's a beautiful, about 76 degrees day here in the Twin Cities. So when it's a day like that, I feel like today's flavor is banana grape smoothies blended with almond milk or on ice. Allow it to take part of you and relieve a stressful day that you may be having. You know what I'm saying? Because stress is a silent killer. So there you have it. Today's flavor is banana grape smoothies. And today's wise words comes from one of our very own, man, a legend. It broke my heart to see this man leave my state. But tonight is his wise words. And also gonna be part of the segment that we're getting ready to talk about. But today's wise words come from the legendary Point God from Coney Island. Played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the New York Knicks. No other than Stephon Marbury the Great. You know what I'm saying? So today's wise words is going to be from Stephon Marbury the Great, is what I call him, because he was one of the baddest point guards. His wise words is this: making a difference has always been most important to Starberry because it takes lots of care and thought to do so. It takes lots of care and thought to do so when wanting to make a difference. Those are the wise words. And those words really have a lot of inspiration amongst it. Because today people want to talk about how they want to make a difference. And they don't necessarily go about it the right way or even know where to begin and how to start. But if you're going to make a difference in this world, you should have lots of care in whatever that you are trying to inspire, whatever you are trying to effect, whatever you are trying to give growth to. So if you want to make a difference, care about that difference, care about whatever it is that you want to change. Why? Because as Marbury said, it takes a lot of care and thought. So don't just rush out there and say, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. Put time into it. Put time into thinking about what can you do to possibly change and make a difference for somebody that may have not the experience that you may have. So how can you contribute? How can you give back? Do you really care? And it's not about people that view you on the outside. It starts with you. So again, the wise words tonight is by Stephen Marbury, the point guard, #3 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Making a difference has always been most important because it takes lots of care and thought to do so. So those are the wise words tonight here at Coffee Talk Podcast of the point guard, NBA legend, Stephon Marbury. And we're going to go right into our first part of our discussion tonight, which is the price of shoes. That's right, the price of shoes. Stephon Marbury is an A-list level 1 athlete, meaning that when he played in the NBA, he was one of the top 10 to 15 players of his era. And when we talk about point guards, he was top 5 of his era. This man went ahead to play 13 seasons in the NBA. He has an average of 19.3 points a game and seven assists as a career average. Stephon Marbury went ahead and began to feel that every black and brown or and every kid that didn't have the money, no matter the color, but most importantly, black and brown. But it was these kids that couldn't afford to have the top shoes. And I'm not going to say what shoes out there, but you know all the name brands. A lot of kids in our communities, the ones that spend the most time watching these games, supporting these players, not being able to see these players as often as others. Stephon Marbury started to create a shoe back in 2006 called the Starberries. And with this shoe, he was charging $14.98 a shoe. Again, the first release was back in 2006. Many question, why was you only charging $14.98? You know? And Marbury said, homeboy, you're paying $200. Excuse me, something's in my eye. Marbury said, homeboy, you're paying $200 for sneakers that cost $5 to make in China. But you fighting brothers over sneakers. You snuffing brothers as you walk by, messing up people's sneakers. People's sneakers are getting damaged in the rain unexpectedly going out in bad weather after they done paid 5, 6, $700 for a pair of sneakers. And these sneakers only cost $5 to make them. People have lost their lives over sneakers. And these sneakers only cost $5 to create. Let's go ahead and talk further about these shoes. Fox News reported on January 13th, 2015, that buying expensive sneakers is a waste of money per researchers. The British Journal of Sports Medicine backs Marbury and others, saying that the sneakers are not worth the money. This was Fox News reporting this from the British Journal of Sports Medicine back on January 13th, 2015. And we are in 2022. Remember that date as we continue with this story. The price of shoes today, and the fact that these shoes are being resold every 6 to 8 months, they just resend them out again, resend them out again. And each time you're paying 175, 200, 215, 250, 300, 600, 700. I jumped over the 4 or 500 because it's getting astronomical. These shoes are just being reprocessed, and we continue to go ahead and buy them over and over and over again. How much money are we actually spending? Well, according to NBC News, with an article that was released back on October 23rd, 2021 by Curtis Bunn, it stated black males are the drivers of the market that pulls in $70 billion back in 2020. That's right, y'all. $70 billion is what black males are putting into the economy. So I wanted to go ahead and just dig a little bit deeper tonight. And before I go further, I just want to say that was according to Stiska company, their research company. $70 billion is what black males are putting in 1 year into the shoe market. What are we getting out of it? How is it helping the black communities? How are we profiting? Are we profiting? We're not. And this is what Stephon Marbury and other great leaders of the sport that are people that are influencers, that are people that are inspiring young men, saying that, listen, you don't have to have the $300-400 sneaker. I made a post last week about how I personally as a budget on what I would spend on a sneaker. My budget is 150, 180. That's high. But I caught flack from others that felt like they need to have an expensive shoe. And there's no problem with having a $300-400 shoe. But there is a problem. They said to me, if you don't have, if you had $1 million, it would be nothing to you. And I replied, that money is not my God. I don't care how much money I have. I know what it's like not to have no money. So why would I ever, even if I had 1,000,000, even if I had 5,000 in my pocket and at the store at one time, why would I spend for a $300-400 shoe? I love myself. That shoe don't love me. That shoe costs $5 made in China. So how are we contributing? And why do we continue to give that much money away? Leave a comment, hit the like button, share the video. What's your thoughts on the price of sneakers? $70 billion industry. And what's crazy about this whole situation with buying shoes is that the media, right? The media will get you after a while to hate that athlete for whatever little scummed up reason that they vicariously place in your minds because you watch so much television and you're so involved in sport. Sport is men's livelihood at times, even before they're kids. Sport. Why do I say that? Let's look at what the great queen Shahrazad Ali mentions in the chapter called Recreation, as she talks about the merchandising. I just got two highlighted pieces. She says sports are a way for them to show off their physical prowess. Sport. She said that the merchandising of sports in America is an activity to itself. Hats, caps, t-shirts, sweatshirts, running suits, visors, flags, wrist and headbands, raincoats, license plates, posters, banners, all sorts of memorabilia are made available to black men to advertise their allegiance to the team of their choice. This is part of the fun they associate with playing sports on the spectator level. They have also been known to fall out over their different views about a certain player, sports event, or team. They even kill each other over what they deem as an important point about a game. Associated with pregame or post-game festivities is the drinking of alcohol beverages and cursing and yelling as part of the excitement. The excitement. Shahrazad Ali also says black men who play professional sports and tend to earn huge sums of money by playing the game, doing commercials to endorse products, and from personal appearances. Many make several $1,000,000 a year. And all of their money, just as with entertainers, is on a deposit in a European owned bank. What's your thoughts on that, y'all? Some of these shoes, again, reproduce themselves. They come out every 8 months, every 10 months, and you go spend that same $200 to $250. Are we benefiting from it? What's the most you would spend on a shoe? Go ahead and leave a comment. Hit the like button when you're there. Share. Call your friends up. Hey, Coffee Talks On. It's a good show tonight. But tonight we are talking about the price of shoes. And are we benefiting from it? Stephon Marbury couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't stand to see our children that look up to him, that look up to all these great NBA athletes paying that amount of money. You know, if you're buying a shoe for $200, people, you know that that's 2 days of work. That would be 2 days of work. Yeah. For some people, some people are just stealing people's shoes. Some people are spending $400 or $500 shoes, go out to the club, spill drinks on your shoes, and they laugh it off as if that is not a problem. Might not be a problem, but it's a waste. What's your thoughts on this, y'all? I remember raising my children, I would buy them all the Target brand shoes, and I would buy them the dope shoes that I would wear on the days when we're gonna go out and be family and we're out and about having dinner and stuff when we want to wear our best clothes. I taught my kids that. I said, don't wear your best shoes all the time. And it's not that your father can't get you more. It just takes one rain though to damage your shoe, and then you got to throw it away. Value your quality. One of the problems in the black community is that we spend too much money on senseless things. Again, $70 billion in 1 year just on sneakers alone. Don't argue with me. You argue with Fox News because they did the research. All right. So that is our first subject of the day, which is um, the price of shoes. Is our community benefiting from it? I believe we should be benefiting more. What's your thoughts on the show? I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Go ahead and let us know. All right. But this is Coffee Talk Podcast. This is the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And that's the end of our first segment for tonight. The next segment is, because again, this is Cultural Studies Night. We're going to go ahead and have two short readings, as we always do. Definitely bigging up to the authors. These are two fables that we're going to have tonight. The first one is called The Moon King. And actually, you know what? I love The Moon King so much, I might make that last. And then the other story is Why Elephants Are as Intelligent as People. These are two short fables. I would love for you to stick around, listen to the short story. It's about a 3-minute story. It's definitely a great story. It's definitely Afrocentric. And yeah, definitely stay around. This is Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. And I'll be right back. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the show, Coffee Talk Podcast. I am your host, MISHUMA Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast Show. If you're just tuning in, the first segment we was talking about the price of shoes, y'all, and our is and excuse me, is our community benefiting from it? We spend $70 billion in tennis shoe sales in the year 2020. Come on, y'all. Talk to me. Leave a comment. Let me know what's on your mind. How you feel about that? All right. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into a beautiful story, y'all. These last two stories are very beautiful. And all I want you to do before we begin these stories is this, man. I want you to take a moment. I'll give you a minute. Go to your refrigerator and grab whatever you need to grab, man. If that's some water, some wine, a smoothie, some beer, some coffee, a cappuccino, you go ahead and grab something and then come on back, come on in, kick your feet up, and welcome, welcome, welcome to our humble home here at Coffee Talk Podcast. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. The story is entitled Why Elephants Are Intelligent as People. It's a read aloud story. Let's begin. In African myths, the elephant is depicted as a wise chief who settles disputes among the forest creatures. The Wachaga in Tanzania believe that the elephant was once a human being, but was cheated out of all of his limbs except for his right arm, which now serves as his trunk. An Ashanti myth explains that in the past, elephants were human chiefs. When Ashantis find a dead elephant in the forest, they give it a proper chief's burial. This Kenyan myth tells how elephants originated. A very poor man heard of Ivania Nagia, which means he that feeds the poor. Though it was a long journey, the poor man decided to go and find Ivana Nagia. When he finally arrived, he saw more cattle and sheep than he could count. And in the midst of the lush green pastures was Ivania Nagia's sparkling mansion. Ivana Nagia received the poor man kindly. Without being told, he understood the man's need and ordered that he be given 100 sheep and 100 cows. No, said the poor man, I want no charity. I only want the secret of how to become rich. Ivana Nagia thought for a while, then took a flask of ointment and gave it to the poor man, saying, rub this on your wife's pointed teeth in her upper jaw. Wait until they have grown and then sell them. The poor man returned home and carried out the strange instructions, promising his wife that they would become very rich. After some weeks, the wife's canine teeth began to grow, and they had grown into a tusk as long as his arm. The man persuaded his wife to let him pull them out. He took them to the market and sold them for a flock of goats. After a few weeks, the wife's canine teeth had grown again, becoming even longer than the previous pair. But this time, she would not let her husband touch them. Not only her teeth, but her whole body became bigger and heavier. Her skin became thick and gray. At last, she burst out the door and walked into the forest, where she lived from then on. She gave birth to her son there, who was also an elephant. From time to time, her husband visited her in the forest, but she would not be persuaded to come back. This was the origin of elephants and explains why they are intelligent as people. Mm, interesting, y'all. Why do you think the female elephant left her husband? Could it be that because he would rather be rich than to see her beauty? He got addicted to the money and buying senseless things. Got addicted and forgot about her beauty. So she left and went away. Yes, she would let him come and visit, but it was never the same. Was this an intelligent move? Tell me your thoughts on the story of why elephants are as intelligent as people. That's right. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. I am your host, MISHUMA Saba, M. Saba, and this is our cultural studies night where we give big props to our authors, our doctors, our scientists, our scholars, our people. So that's our story, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit you with another 30-second commercial break. And when I get back, we're gonna finish tonight's show with the story called The Moon King. I guarantee you, man, you're gonna really like this show, like this story, man. Definitely inspirational. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Peace, 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 peace. And welcome to the show, Coffee Talk Podcast. Excuse me, because you know I'm eating and I'm cheating. So I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to swallow it, y'all. You know, hold on, bear with me. All right, thank you. Thank you for being patient. All right. So back to the show. Um, this is our last reading for tonight. And this reading is called The Moon King. That's right, The Moon King. In this Angolian myth, a little frog plays matchmaker for the prince of the earth and the Moon King's daughter. The king of the earth had one son. When he came of age, his father told him, "You must marry. I will help you choose a wise daughter for my wife." The king asked each of the wise men and women of his kingdom how to find the path to the moon, but no one knew. Just then, the frog spoke up. "Sire," he said, "I will travel to the moon for you." The king did not really believe the frog could make such a journey, but decided to give him a chance. "All right," said the king, "take this letter to the Moon King." The frog knew that the Moon King's water bears came to earth every morning before sunrise to fetch water from a hidden spring deep in the forest. The next morning, the frog hid in the spring and swam into the first pail they lowered for filling. When the water bearers returned to the moon, the frog jumped out and asked to be taken to the Moon King. When the frog was brought before him, he produced the Earth King's letter. The Moon King read it, wrote a reply, and handed it to the frog who was brought back to Earth in one of the empty water pails. He swam out when the pail was lowered into the water, hurried to the court of the Earth King, and announced himself by saying, "Ambassador to the Moon's King's court is here with a message for the Earth King." The Earth King read the letter. The Moon King had agreed to the wedding of his daughter to the Earth Prince as soon as the bride's price was paid. The Earth King gave the frog a bag of gold to take up to the moon. And when the frog arrived, he was treated to a fine meal of pork and chicken, and then carried the message back to Earth that the princess of the moon would arrive the next night. Nobody really believed the frog, but they put on their best clothes just in case. Sure enough, the next night, the moon princess descended along a silver cord woven by the moon spider and was married to the prince of the earth, the Moon King. So those are our two stories tonight. May you have enjoyed those. Story one was why elephants are intelligent as people, and the second one was the Moon King. Also, in our earlier segment, we talked about the price of tennis shoes and are we benefiting from them. Go ahead and hit the like button, share the video, definitely subscribe to our show if you are watching it on YouTube. And I just want to go ahead and hit you with the universal peace sign. And I want to say thank you for supporting our show and our cultural studies night here at Coffee Talk Podcast. Y'all take it easy, man. And I'll see y'all soon. Peace and blessings.